Hey guys, how you doing today? It's Jeff with AmmoX. Feels super weird to say that. I'm used to saying Jeff at the Gaming Goat or with the Gaming Goat. So excited to be in this new venture. I wanted my very first video on this channel to be kind of a backstory and a history and where we're going and some company stuff. But fortunately and unfortunately, I have some different content for my first video. Also, I do everything live, and unfortunately, I had to pre-record this. I am not going to edit it because YouTube requires me to have 50 subscribers until I can do a live video. And I didn't attempt to get subscribers other than posting a link once. I think we have 20 or 30 subscribers. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I probably could have gotten 50 in 1 second before I did this, but that's okay. I'm just pre-recording this. All the future ones will be live. I'll make sure of that. So I now operate with my business partner, Nicole Hart, AmmoX, and we are an ammunition company that is housed out of San Benito, Texas. And I've been in Texas for about 4 weeks at this point. We incorporated in Texas, about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So I knew I was heading this way. We incorporated. They have a pretty good tax system in Texas, very similar to Nevada, where I came from. So I figured it was going to be a good decision. I'm right on the border. I'm about 5 miles away from Trump's border wall, or so my neighbor tells me. I haven't actually been to that section of the border wall, but I did go to Mexico, crossing over around McAllen, Texas, a couple of weeks ago, to go get some food and walk around. That part of Mexico I would call Ratchet Mexico, similar to TJ, which I used to go frequently to hang out when I was in Vegas. That was a 4.5 hour drive, and you enter right around San Diego off memory. And I would drive down to Ensenada, hang out on the water, and they have wine country, etc. over there. Beautiful area once you get down through Tijuana. I do like Tijuana though. It's got a special place in my heart. It's super cool. The bar scene there was pretty fun. Regardless, we're doing ammunition. It's going to be great. I'm not going to go through everything about the company. I'll do another video for that because it'll be kind of interesting probably how we got started. But the long and the short is I have a supply chain. And we were trained on our manufacturing machines yesterday and the day before. So we bought a machine. It has various tooling and die on it to make different calibers of ammunition. It's an automated machine. It's got a motor on it. It has an LED touchscreen. It's pretty dope. I'll make a video with it probably next time so you guys can see kind of how we do it. I find it very interesting. It's an absolutely cool industry to be involved with, and I'm very fortunate that I can. With that comes a supply chain, similar to my previous life. If you don't know me personally or professionally, I used to sell board games. I sold a lot of board games. I used to sell trading card games, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, RPGs. I sold a lot of all of that, frequently all across the United States. So if you want to Google me, you can. You can look that up. I'm not going to go through my past because we are moving forward, gosh darn it. So that's kind of where I came from. But supply chain is my expertise. I did that in my previous company for 14 years at a pretty high level. We were pretty big there for about 8 or 9 years. And we were operating over 30 stores for 7 years, which is quite a bit of stores. So very proud of that. So the supply chain in the ammunition firearms industry so far has been very similar to tabletop. You have your folks that are very knowledgeable. You have your folks that are there to help you out. You have your big players that have the good prices, and you have your kind of, minority players, right? Where they're, they carved out a little niche of the industry and they work within that. Same in tabletop. Tabletop really had 7 distributors. You can actively use a max of 5. If you have a single store, you only use 1 or 2. I used 4 at once for a while. I used 3 at the tail end there, and I channeled all my volume through them. But we also bought directly from publishers. So our split at the end of my company at the Gaming Goat was about 70% went to distribution that final year and 30% went directly to publishers, and I bought directly from them. There's reasons to do both, and this industry is the same. I can call, a brass case manufacturer or a bullet manufacturer, put in an order. I've done that, or you can go through a distributor or middleman. Again, various reasons to do various things. The main reason that I would use a distributor at this point is shipping cost. Ammunition components, if you didn't know, are extremely heavy. And they don't ship well really under any circumstance. If you put them on a pallet, you're going to approach 2,000, 2,500 pounds, which is a max for the most part on a normalized full-size pallet. And you're going to accomplish that by having a pallet that's only this tall, very, very quickly. The brass casings, you get a little more mass per weight because they're hollow, but the bullets, depending on what you're using, are going to be solid metal. So when you stick, a ton of bullets in a box of this size, this box is going to weigh 50, 60, or 70 pounds. So imagine those lined up on the bottom of a pallet. So anyways, I was having an issue when I first started trying to find brass casings, which is the quote-unquote bottom part of the bullet that the primer fits into. There's 4 components of a a completed round of ammunition. That is one of the components. So I needed to source this because that states the caliber of the round, and it's sort of the starting point. You build everything off of that brass case. So I knew that we were going to make 300 blackout. We had the tooling for it, and we had someone coming to train me on the machines to be proficient to make 300 blackout ammo in various grains, various bullets, various powders, etc. If that makes sense. So I called the distributor who said, hey, dude, I can get you some 300 blackout brass. And I was like, that's cool. And I talked to this guy a bunch. If you're curious who they are, it's Warhorse Munitions in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I had probably 4 or 5 good conversations with this rep before I made my first order. And it was all positive, and he was a big help. He gave me some PDF files of powder burn rate, and he was suggesting some other places to go to buy different components that I maybe couldn't get through him. Honestly, very helpful, super nice guy. Definitely someone that I would probably have a beer with on the side if I didn't know him regardless. My type of dude, like dealing with him a lot. So I decided to throw him some money. And I did, quite a bit of money actually. For me, starting out, a lot. For a bigger, small ammunition manufacturer, not really. And for a medium-sized to large, definitely not. But I ordered 50,000 brass cases, and I ordered 25,000 of 2 different bullets, which you can also call projectiles. That is the piece that fits into the brass casing, and that's the part that shoots out of your gun and hits a target, if you want the layman's term breakdown of that. So you can get different types of projectiles and bullets. They have different grains, they're made out of different materials, they're shaped differently, for all different sorts of use, okay? You have self-defense, you have hunting, you have, subsonic, you want to be really quiet. Those don't use a lot of powder. You have rounds that use an overly large amount of powder that come out extremely hot, that are high velocity. I'm not going to go into the science of it. That's for a different day. But regardless, I bought 50,000 of 2 components of 4 to make 1 round of ammunition, if that makes sense. In addition to that, this brass that I was buying was supposed to come pre-primed, okay? So what is a primer? A primer is a little thing, a little circle. If you look at the bottom of a brass case, you'll see a little circle there. A primer is what connects the round with the gunpowder and makes it go boom through the chamber. So it causes an explosion in your chamber, in your gun, to make the projectile move forward. That is the basic breakdown. These primers vary in cost. For rifles, between 4 to 5 cents. Kind of main line ones are 4 cents in bulk. Good ones are 5 to 6 cents. Just kind of depends. Doesn't really matter, just interesting fact. This brass was supposed to come pre-primed. And pre-primed means that at the company that is selling me the brass, they are going to take these little brass primers and they have a machine and it sticks the primer into the brass case. And why is that good? Well, number one, I don't have to do it, and that's great. Doing work is overrated unless you need practice, which in this case I did, but we had enough practice priming other things, or we had other non-primed options. Wasn't concerned about that. Also, you save money when you ship brass cases with the primer in the brass. So either primer in the brass or unprimed entirely with no primers on the same pallet, you can ship those products non-hazardous. If you ship primers, it is considered hazardous, which is essentially the equivalent of shipping gunpowder. And the long and the short is it costs more money. And primers are very small. I mean, we're talking, you can fit 50,000 of them in a box, okay? But it's, let's say, 3 to 4 times more expensive to ship said box with the primers because it is an explosive item, hazardous, has to be labeled, etc., etc. You can also put those onto a pallet of items that are non-hazardous, and it makes the entire pallet and require a hazardous label, which I did that for another shipment, doesn't matter. But you want to get it pre-primed if you can. It saves you on labor costs, saves you on shipping cost, unless you're going to pick it up, and unless you want practice priming your brass, and you want to know that it's done correctly. I could see that. So that's the reasoning here. I wanted it pre-primed because I have to plow through a bunch of ammo and make it, because we're not a live company yet. We exist, we have nothing to sell. So we're starting at zero, and we have to produce about 350, 400,000 rounds of ammunition until we can launch our website, if that makes sense. So it's saving me time. So I liked that. The only condition that I had was that they had 14 days to prime this brass and then ship it to me, because I wanted to have it here on site to do training with it. I wanted to make ammunition live with my trainer using this primed brass and these projectiles. I want to practice, right? Because every time we change caliber on these machines that are automated, right? Sort of automated. The setup is definitely not, but the process is an automatic feeder, automatic press, etc. Okay? Again, I'll show you guys in the next video. You have to set up the tooling and the die for your caliber, and you have to calibrate the whole piece that mounts on your machine every time you switch caliber. So it takes between, let's say, 45 minutes to 2 hours, okay? When we do it now, it's gonna take us a couple hours because we are not good at this. We need practice, right? And we also wanna make sure everything's perfect. So we're gonna do a lot of auditing while we're setting up the tooling, if that makes sense. So I ordered this, I needed it. So about, let's call it Thursday or Friday of last week, I was told that it was not going to make it to me on time, okay? So that was a problem because I needed it. So there was a compromise. And the compromise was that, well, Jeff, we were gonna charge you to ship this product, and now we are not. We're gonna ship it for free because of your inconvenience. And I said, okay, that seems like an all right compromise. So number one, I compromised, okay? Did I get a benefit? Sort of, but you're gonna see how that actually wasn't a benefit at the end of the story. So I compromised. We're not gonna have the 300 blackout ready for training. I'm gonna have to learn that caliber on my own. Not too concerned about it, okay? I'm gonna be able to make 300,000 rounds before I ever touch 300 blackout. So I'm gonna be more competent than almost anyone, the top nth percent in making ammunition before I even touch those brass. So it's gonna be all good. Not worried about it. Also very good support with the company that makes our machine. So we can do a video call, they can help me. Okay, so time passes, and then I need to pay freight cost on part of the order. So already this is seeming a little interesting, right? So I made an order with the distributor, but there's 2 different shipping points, and one of those shipping points is not the distributor, okay? So this already would never happen in tabletop, okay? So apparently this distributor didn't have this product. They sourced it, and by sourcing meaning they don't own it. They're doing a drop ship, okay? A drop ship is where you partner with someone else and you buy product to send to another shipping point, and money exchanges hands a total of 3 ways, but you never touch the product or you never see it until, they don't touch it or see it the entire time during the process. They're just middlemaning and taking a cut, if that makes sense. And I'm not going to get into the numbers of that, but he did tell me what the cut was. And in tabletop distribution, the cut is going to be 1/3 of that, okay? So it was phrased to me like that cut was a low cut, but compared to the industry I came from, that is a massive cut, okay? So I was already not very happy. I'm going to be honest. Something triggered and I was like, well, I know how much, GTS, Distribution, ACD, and Alliance, I know they're cut on stuff because I was a board game publisher and I sold things to distribution, and I just know the numbers. Once you do it for 14 years and you sell $150 million worth of board games, you just kind of know the numbers, right? So I was already a little confused, but okay, I'm new at this. Hopefully I didn't overpay. So then I get an invoice, and this is for $4,700 worth of product, okay? It is for 25,000 of the projectiles, okay? So I ordered, and in fact, I'm just going to show you guys. And again, when I do this in tabletop, the customer base and people that are fans of my brand love this because they're like, this motherfucker's showing how it works. And you know what? I'm always going to do that, and I just don't care. I'll be honest, I just don't care. And every time I do it, publishers would call me or distributors would call me, and people would say, you're banned and you're trash, and why the fuck do you do this? And I only do this when someone goes way, way out of their way to fuck me over, okay? I would never, ever, ever, by any stretch of the imagination, do anything to alienate a great business partner. And I didn't for 14 years. I have a very large track record of paying people a large amount of money for product, okay? But we're already in this rare situation where someone tried to fuck me over. Isn't that crazy? Okay. So here's what you get, okay, when you try to fuck me over. The entire world gets to see what I see. You ready? Let's go. Just going to flip the phone around. So right here is an invoice, and there's nothing crazy on here. You can zoom in and look all you want, but the long and the short is there's an area in black where I paid money for things, and there's an area in red where I was credited for things, and then there's a total at the bottom that has another total, okay? Now, I'm not going to leave this up on the screen while I talk because I just flipped my phone, but if you guys want to pause this and take a look at it, open another screen, you can if you want to reference it. This isn't going to be an analytical video. I'm just showing you the data so you know where I'm coming from. Fair? I want to be transparent. So I was a little confused and starting to get a little pissed off. All right. I was like, you know what? I feel like I got taken for a ride, and I don't like that. And the reason why I ordered brass from this company was because I was having problems finding it. I only saw it at some of the massive companies like Starline is a great example, and they have constant quantity problems. And I was told they were a little low on 300 blackout, so I obviously looked around to make sure that I could get it and get a good deal. And I was told this is a great deal. And in fact, at 50,000 quantity, which is a small quantity, as most distributors remind me of every day, okay? It was a screaming deal. I'm like, okay, hey, I'm down. And it comes primed, okay? So the price that is on there per bullet includes a primer that is 4 cents. Plus, I didn't pay for the labor, but there's some labor in it. Okay. So there it is. So the projectile number one, 25,000 units, that's in one spot, and the rest of the product is in another spot. Why is that? I have no idea. And then I found out later that he's drop shipping. So this is not a distributor, he's just drop shipping. So this doesn't serve me well at all. It's just someone else for no reason taking another cut. And I was unaware of that, and that's my fault. I learned I made a mistake. That doesn't happen in tabletop. There is no distribution drop shipping. That shit's crazy. I would never engage in degenerate retardation of my own supply chain. So shame on me. I fucked up. I learned making a video. So these 25,000 projectiles are shipping out of Wisconsin, and the other product is shipping out of Idaho. And the majority of it, including the brass casings, are late. But they're coming free, but I still have to pay shipping on the other part. So I got fucked over, but I only got free shipping on part of it, okay? Now think about that from a customer perspective. Seems weird, right? The whole thing is starting to unravel. So I go and look at the invoice, and it's one pallet. It's essentially this tall, okay? It's 800 pounds. So in tabletop terms, 800 pound pallet, if it's not TCGs, if it's board games, it's probably 4 or 5 feet tall, maybe even higher depending what the game is. You guys know how that goes. In ammunition, it's not. Very, very small pallet. So it's going to be cheaper to ship. In theory, because of the height, you can stack that pallet on top of another pallet if the one below it is stackable. So it's going to be efficient for shipping. So I look at the price, and it was more than I've ever paid for any pallet in my life. And I have paid for low end 1,500 pallets at the Gaming Goat, at least in the last 5 years that I operated. I mean, I was getting sometimes dozens a week, okay? So I know how much that costs. Now, if it wasn't a crowdsourced game, I wasn't paying for those pallets. Distribution was, but I paid for and had to, line up pallets coming in from all sorts of ports, all sorts of publishers, all sorts of weights, many, many, many times from different publishers. I've done this many, many times. Am I God's gift of freight flow? No. Do I know a lot about it? I do, and that's good, and I knew it was wrong. It was $1,000 to send an 800-pound pallet that was this tall. And what I did a call with him, and I said, this is way too much money. You need to get it lower. And he said, well, that was the cheapest one. Most of them are $1,100 or $1,200. So I immediately understand that this is not a distributor. This is a dude that is just talking, that is a middleman, that probably has some expertise in something, but is not distribution, okay? But I've already, unfortunately, wired the amount of money, and I don't have terms for this order, which was my mistake. And I learned this, obviously, kickstarting games. Never, ever, ever, ever wire money to someone that you don't know really well if it's a large amount of money. In this case, it was $26,000. I consider that to be a large amount of money. I think you can still buy a Honda Civic for that. So my unit of money measurement in the past Gaming Goat was, how many Honda Civics can I buy with this amount of money? I would estimate you can buy one Honda Civic at least for 26 grand. So that is the start of a lot of money. Can we agree? Okay. So that was wrong. I immediately got a freight quote. It was $465. Is that great? Not really. Can probably go lower, but I wanted to get it. Also, the price he charged me for that projectile, which I paid $4,750 for, was $700 more than the projectiles through the company that makes the projectiles, distributor. Let me say that one more time. There's 3 lines of supply chain in this deal. Company that makes things, middle person, me. So it's the same level of channels, but these projectiles are from CamPro, okay? And CamPro has a distributor in the United States that's literally the same mileage away from my Texas residence as Green Bay is. And they're charging like 2.5 or 3 cents less per projectile. Shame on me for not looking, but this dude got me the 300 blackout I needed, and he's a distributor, so I assumed it was going to be close. And that was $4,000, and the brass was like $17,000 of this. So the brass was like my main concern. And I figured if I took a haircut a little bit as a percentage on the rest, it's okay, because the dude's cool and he's been helping me out and sending me like burn rate charts on powder and doing calls with me. So I don't want to burn the relationship because of a few points of extra margin. Okay, I think we can agree that's probably the right tactful approach, especially when you're new in the industry. So that was fucked, and the price was fucked. So I got the product. I still don't have it, by the way. I don't have it. It actually just left Green Bay today, and the training ended yesterday. So we're way off. We're in outer space on this. We're in outer space. Product missed its shipping date. I was supposed to get free shipping, but I had to pay shipping on part of it, and the price was dog shit. So I got overcharged by $700 as compared to CamPro's normal US distributor, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's enough for me to send an email. So I sent an email, and I'm very cordial. I am not on quote-unquote Jeff tone at this point. I'm chilling. I'm like, hey, I'm just letting you know I'd like a little adjustment or something because something's weird here. And this was before I fixed the shipping problem for them. I fixed it. I arranged for the freight, and then he acted like that was normal because obviously everyone knows with distribution, you do all your own freight, right? Don't you want scaling shipping costs because you're a distributor? Don't you want that advantage? Who's going to get better shipping costs? The person buying stuff from a distributor or the distributor that's sending shit to hundreds of different places? You want to pay the distributor's cost. But then, obviously, at that point, I realized they aren't actually a distributor. They're just trash. You learn. You live and you learn, am I right? You know what? It doesn't say distribution in their name. That was just an audible. That was my mistake. I learned a lesson for next time. I fixed it. Apparently, that pallet left today. That's cool. I overpaid. I got fucked. Lesson learned. Moving forward. I don't want hardly anything to do with the deal at this point at all. But then I did some more research. And I'm going to show you guys what's going on here. So I'm at Freedom's website, and this is Freedom Brass. And if you guys want to know how absolute fucking dog shit this Idaho-based company is, it's freedommunitions.com, okay? These guys did this to me right now, okay? They sold Warhorse Munitions product to sell to me. So Freedom solicited this to Warhorse to buy, okay? Warhorse didn't ask them, hey, hook me up. This dude's desperate, needs strainer blackout. This is on a regular PDF or a login somewhere that has a huge list of shit to buy, and it is solicited to someone to buy. This wasn't a favor of a favor. This is normal business as usual, okay? So I go on their website because I'm just curious now. Do these guys sell these components separately that I bought the 300 blackout? Meaning the primer, the brass, and they're sending me 25,000 of their projectiles, okay? So that's Freedom brand, okay? So the primers won't be Freedom brand. I think they were Gen X. I'm pretty sure if that matters. But it's Freedom brass and Freedom bullets, projectiles. Okay, so I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if I got fucked on this too. So I go and look, and lo and behold, I pull up the grain of this projectile, which is, let me go back to my notes here. The grain on this projectile is 125 grain FMJ for 300 blackout caliber. So there you go. That's what it is. So I go to their website because I'm kind of pissed off, and lo and behold, they're selling it. And I'm like, oh good, I have a reference point. But you know what? They only sell the completed ammunition. And it's crazy because it's their projectile, right? And it's their case. So I'm basically making essentially their ammunition, right? Because they don't make the powder and they don't make the primer. So what I'm manufacturing is going to be exactly what they manufacture. You see what I'm saying? There's 2 off-brand non-Freedom products and 2 Freedom products. But the 2 Freedom products are what you see. It's the bullet and it's the case. The thing that goes boom and the thing that makes it go boom, essentially, correct? So I go on their website and I am paying, and I'm just going to show you guys again if you want to look here. You can do the math, but on 50,000 bullets, when you do the math, one of these brass cases and one of these projectiles per bullet, I pay 50 cents. And that's a lot. That isn't even including the powder, which, by the way, is fucking crazy expensive because of all the shit going on overseas and all of the shit going on here. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff going on in the world. So when stuff goes on in the world, we'll call it disarray, powder gets expensive because China makes the majority of it and they have to send it to both sides, right? Let's call it Russia and Ukraine, or, Hamas and, Israel, whatever. They're giving powder to everybody. Everyone's getting the powder, okay? Just like iPhones. They're giving iPhones to everybody. Whoever makes the iPhone, sorry, I think it's China. You know what I'm saying? So they're supplying the world with gunpowder, okay? So when that shit goes on, the powder gets expensive, okay? So my cost of just 3 pieces without the powder is 50 cents. So I go on their website and they're selling the completed round in 50 count. That's 50, okay? 50. And they're selling the round for like 44 cents or 45 cents. I don't know, within a penny, okay? For the whole round, okay? And they just charged a company to sell me the components without the powder for 50 cents, okay? So the absolute worst case scenario on this deal is I'm going to lose 30% every bullet I make after I add powder to it. And you may ask yourself, well, Jeff, how do I know that? It's because I have a fucking spreadsheet and I know exactly how much powder costs, and I have it sitting 80 feet away from me, and I know how much powder goes in these things because I have to make 50,000 of them, okay? So the best case scenario is I put it on my website and I lose 30% because I have to match that price. Otherwise, I am being a fucking terrible human being. I'm a terrible retailer. I'm a terrible businessman. And I would completely ruin my reputation day one. And I'm known as the value dude, right? The gaming goat. Come in here and buy shit. We have insane prices all the time. We have everything that's dope. And you don't have to shop around. Just load your fucking cart up and buy stuff. My entire career has been predicated on that. So that doesn't work, right? So I either lose 30% or I charge break even, right? And I don't lose any money, but I sell ammunition to my friends and family for 30% more than they can buy it from another place. I am not willing, under any stretch of the imagination, to compromise myself. Even if I was 22 years old and broke and needed money, I would never do that. And now I'm going to be 44 in a couple days, and I already retired. I'm doing this for fun and a challenge. I'm definitely not going to do it now, okay? So this entire deal sucked the biggest cock, okay? It fucking sucked. There wasn't a single thing right about this. So I called the guy at Warhorse, and I sent some emails. And now I realize the entire deal is, FUBAR. If you guys watch 80s movies, you'll catch the reference. And this dude is literally cucking for Freedom Munitions. He's like standing directly in between my outrage and them, explaining like, well, I would never look at a completed bullet price. And things like that happen all the time. And it's crazy because when I started out selling tabletop board games in January 1st, 2011 was the first day my first store opened. Every fucking distributor gave me that same speech. It's like, you know what? You got to watch out for yourself because sometimes shit's just going to get crazy. And it's no one's fault that someone fucks you over by 30% on purpose. It just isn't. That's just going to happen. It isn't our fault. And, it's crazy. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? So you just have to know your shit. And I learned from this and it's fine. So, of course, I say, listen, I can't sell this trash because I don't want devalued trash ammunition that they're blowing out on my website. No one would want that, right? Doesn't matter if you're selling socks or donuts or ammunition or fucking Pokemon cards. You don't want devalued trash in your retail store or on your e-commerce website. So I was like, get me out of this fucking deal. Every single thing that you tried to do went incorrectly. There's nothing good here. Like, just refund me, dude. I can't even right now. So he said, okay, I will call this other company, but I can't refund you, even though you are my customer, because I already paid them money, and I can't do that until they pay me back, because I don't have any money to refund you. So then the problem became my problem solely. Because I got inserted directly into the equation, and I've never talked to Freedom in my entire life, okay? So the best case scenario is I have a liaison that is fucking trash from Warhorse Munitions cucking for Freedom Munitions trying to get my money back. How well do you think that's going to happen when both of them made profit, I lost money, and I wired it so I can't get it back without legal action? Just think about that, right? Yeah. I don't have a lot of cards to play, okay? I have almost 0 cards. So literally 3 or 4 days pass, and I call Ned. We don't have a very good phone call. I call him a cuck on the phone because he is. I apologize at the end, but after seeing today what I just saw, I'm going to go ahead and reinstate the cuck tag. This cracker-ass motherfucker is a cuck, dude. And I found out he's from like Cali and shit, and it's just like, dude, it's all coming around. Okay? It's all coming around, okay? So I get an email 2 hours ago. This dude doesn't even have the balls to call me to tell me how fucked I am on this. He sends an email on Friday at 5 o'clock at end of business. How many times have you guys operated in business and you're having a bad fucking day, dude, and you're waiting on a communication from someone to do a deal or to finish a project so you can leave the office at 5 because you got shit that you're going to go to a baseball game tomorrow or go to the cabin or go out shooting your guns or go fucking play games with your kids or whatever you're going to do, and you're waiting on a note. And then at like 4:40, you need this one thing to finish your project. You get a note and it's like, I'm not going to have that for you until Monday. And the dude's gone. How many times, just tell me how many times that's happened to you. I know that shit happens all the time. It's happened to me so many fucking times. That motherfucker time cucked me. I got time cucked. 5 o'clock on is today Friday? Let me look. I don't even know what day it is. Is today Friday? Oh, today's Thursday. I still got time cucked on a Thursday. Hey, end of business on Thursday. That's good enough to prove my point, okay? This could have been dealt with, all right? So anyways, I'm not saying it'll be resolved tomorrow though, okay? So hear me out on that. Anyways, I get this email. Now, what I'm going to show you should make you furious, okay? Now, I think I'm taking it pretty well, all right? Only because I'm not rich, but I'm almost there. So I have enough money where I'm not going to starve. But when people take my hard-earned money away, it does fucking piss me off. So as opposed to getting super mad about it, which I was mad a couple days ago, now I'm just going to get revenge. So this is the start of my revenge tour. All right, let's take a look at this. Look what these motherfuckers did. They charged me $561 to return a projectile pallet that was halfway to me back to Idaho. Okay? Number one, I just booked a pallet from Green Bay to come here, okay, which is farther away, for $465. This pallet was $561, and it went half the distance. Do you think they're juicing the numbers? Let's take a look again. $150 return penalty. After they fucked me over. Okay? Let's keep going. It gets even better. 15% restock fee on 50,000 prime brass. $3,100. Restock fee. So, did this brass, did it ship to me? Because the first problem was that it didn't ship to me. That means that it's still in stock. It never left. Okay. They charged me $3,000 and it never left the shelf. So extortion, that's what it is. It's cuckolding, extortion. You live and you learn. So the total that I lost in cash is about $3,700 today. Now, you may say to yourself, you know what? You learned a lesson. It's all good. And I did. Do you know how many times I've been extorted for a return pallet fee and or a restock fee in the tabletop industry between opening 73 retail stores, having an e-commerce store, using all 7 distributors. I have over 1,300 individual Kickstarter campaigns with individual publishers. I bought campaigns. So the most widespread supply chain in the world, period, in the industry. Biggest sample size by far. How much have I spent in total in my 14-year career that I was very successful in? How much did I spend on restock fees and in pallet returns? $0. And a lot of that is due to the fact that I didn't wire money like a dumb fuck. So you live and you learn. It's gone. Never going to get that back. But the good news is now I can talk about it. So hopefully I get enough revenge from this. And, I'm told every day it's a small industry, the ammunition industry. And it's crazy because I have a loud ass mouth and I'm really persistent. And, I'm kind of sharp. So I think if you're going to do this to someone, I'm funded, probably not the guy. So we're going to have fun with this. I'm going to get all my value out of this $3,600 loss and just personal pleasure shitting on these motherfuckers until the end of time. So they're just going to be a permanent example I use as how not to do business in general. And I'm going to use them as an example to learn from going forward in my new venture. That's where we're at with it. And that is my first video, guys. We're going to be launching the website probably in about 3 weeks. It was going to be 2 weeks, but we have to make a bunch of stuff. The website's not done yet, but it's almost there. Then we have some supply chain stuff to figure out, some packaging stuff. I need to get plastic trays to fit into the smaller cardboard boxes. We don't have the cardboard boxes. So I don't want to launch just to launch because we need money. I mean, money's cool, but we're going to launch. We're going to make money regardless. So I'd rather launch with everything being perfect and done. So I will see you guys live in about 3 weeks. And I'll have an actually informative video about our process and our company as the next video. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. Bookmark us at ammunition-x.com or follow us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, IGX. It'll all be on the website. Grab us on all the socials. Appreciate it, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.